because I'm not feeling so good and I don't look very nice right now. I have pretty bad diarrhea, but okay. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Juki Jai Shri Govana Gopinath Maran Mohi Jai Nitil Vishtam Vishnupaya Rashita Rashita Shmar Shri Bhakti Granta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Gurudev Ki Jai Nitil Vishtam Vishnupaya Rashita Rashita Shmar Shri Bhakti Granta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Vishtam Vishnupaya Nitil Vishtam Vishnupaya Rashita Rashita Shmar Shri Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupaya Rashita Rashita Shmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupaya Rashita Rashita Shmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitil Pravishta Mahabhagavat Shri Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitil Pravishta Shri Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupa Noga Varga Ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shad Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Prasad Vrinda Ki Jai Nama Jai Shri Das Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandal Kora Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kund Shama Kundi Managanga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha Yang Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahakatar Ajuhavo Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Vinedu Stang Sarvabhuta Hridaya Munimanatu Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Shrindvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantastoya Bhadrani Vidhunati Suritsatam Nashta Prayeshvavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavai Vasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantikam Bhakta Vihina Aparada Lakshay Kshiptashtakama Rangamathe Krihamaitam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Bhaja Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so where are we? Yeah, so my voice is going to sound a little bit different today because yeah, I went diarrhea a bunch of times in the middle of the night, like a bunch of times. Altogether, anyways, don't need to get into details. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty weak right now. I can still read though, but just a bit weak. Okay, so continuing, chapter 16, executing the Payo-vrata process of worship. Oh, 1 second, let me just see who's there. Dandavat pranams will say Shri Mataji, and Indira Mataji, and Rupa Manjari Didi. You think I shouldn't read? Actually, I think though I'm gonna do. I think I can read, but I'm gonna do what Rupa Manjari mentioned. I'm gonna get some water because I am probably a bit dehydrated. 1 second, I'm just getting water. Okay. Here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just filling up my water bottle. Okay, done. Okay, so when the demigods had to leave heaven, being overpowered by Bali Maharaj, Aditi, mother of the demigods, was afflicted. At that time, her husband Kaśyapa Muni told her to observe vows for the benefit of her sons. Right, because what happened in the previous chapter? So first, Parikshit Maharaj, this is in the previous chapter, Parikshit Maharaj inquires, why did the Lord beg 3 steps from Bali? And why did he arrest Bali? And so then Shukadeva Goswami explains, the Brahmins, they revive and empower Bali Maharaj. And then Bali Maharaj's preparations to attack Indra's city and description of Indrapuri. The demigods leave heaven and Bali occupies the 3 worlds. Okay, so then, so when the demigods were deprived, 1 second. When the demigods were deprived of their position in heaven, their mother Aditi lamented for them, as if she had no protector. After a long time, Kaśyapa Muni arose from his samadhi and entered the ashram of Aditi, which is neither jubilant nor festive. After being properly received, he spoke to morose Aditi. Kaśyapa Muni inquires about Aditi's detection. Yes. Has anything inauspicious happened in regard to religion, Brahmins, or poor people in general? A grihamedi, a householder who properly follows the principles of dharma, artha, and kama in terms of shastra conjunctions, is as good as a yogi, a transcendentalist. Are there any discrepancies in this regard? Being too attached to family, have you not properly received uninvited guests who thus went away? Homes from which guests go away without being received even with an offering of a little water are like holes of jackals. O chaste woman, in the anxiety of separation from you, have you not offered ghee oblations into fire? Sacrificial fire and the Brahmins are considered to be the mouth of Lord Vishnu, who is the soul of all demigods. By worshipping them, one can attain higher planets. Are your sons faring well? Your withered face shows that your mind is not tranquil. Then Aditi's replied to Kaśyapa Muni. She said, all is well with the Brahmins, the cows, religion, and the welfare of other people. The tree Vargas flourish in household life to bring fortune. I am properly caring for fires, guests, servants, and beggars. I always think of you. But because I always think of you, there is no possibility of neglecting any religious principles. Since you are Prajapati, personally instructing me in Dharma, where is the possibility of my desires not being fulfilled? Now Aditi indicates that she could be relieved of her suffering if Kaśyapa shows mercy. You are equal towards all your progeny, the demigods and the demons, who are in the three modes. But although the Supreme Lord is equal to all, he is especially favorable to his devotees. Aditi indicates that Kaśyapa should also be favorable to Indra. Save us from the demons. Kindly favor me, your maidservant. Our competitors and formidable enemies, the demons, have now taken away our opulence, residence, beauty, and fame. We have now been exiled, drowning in an ocean of trouble. Please bestow upon us the benediction by which they can regain what they have lost. Kaśyapa Muni was surely sympathetic to his wife's affliction, yet he was surprised that the whole world is influenced by affection. Kaśyapa Muni smiled and said, alas, how powerful is Vishnu's Maya, by which the world is bound by affection. Isn't this body made of all but 5 elements? Isn't the soul transcendental to the material world? Then who does the husband or sons belong to? Illusion is the only cause of these attachments. All the different grades of jivas throughout the universe are more or less under the impression of the bodily conception of life. The simple fact that the soul is different from the body is not understood unless one is spiritually educated. Seeing Aditi stood out of affection for her sons, Kaśyapa Muni, as an ideal guru, advises her to worship Lord Vishnu. Because while he was just a conventional husband of Aditi, Lord Vishnu is the real husband and master of all living entities. A material relative cannot do anything good for anyone. If anything good can be done, it is done by Lord Vasudeva alone. The Lord's 5 qualities. Worship the Supreme Lord Krishna, who knows everything. He knows the method of fortune for his sons. Who subdues enemies. He will beg from Bali to favor Indra. Who sits within everyone's heart. He will inspire Bali to disobey Shukracharya. That son of Vasudeva manifests himself in Shuddha Sattva. He will be your son when your heart is purified by bhakti. He is the spiritual master of the universe. He will benefit you, me, Bali, Indra, and the entire universe by making the Ganga appear. He will undoubtedly fulfill all your desires. That Lord Hari is very merciful to the poor. Devotional service unto him is infallible. Any other method is useless. That is my opinion. Then Kaśyapa Muni instructs Aditi in the Payo-vrata process. Aditi asks Kaśyapa, O Brahman, please tell me the process by which I can worship the Lord to fulfill all my desires. Instruct me in the perfect process by which he is pleased soon, and also how he may save my sons from this dangerous situation. Kaśyapa Muni replied, I shall explain to you the same process Rama instructed me when I desired offspring. By this, Lord Kaśyapa is satisfied. So one must, and there's a note here, one must approach a guru for guidance in worshipping the Lord. A bona fide guru instructs a disciple in the authorized process received from his own guru in parampara. The rest of this chapter, Kaśyapa Muni will describe to Aditi the details of the Payo-vrata process of worshipping the Lord, performing a vow while taking only milk. Okay, so let's begin. And Dandavat Pranams. Dandavat Pranams Madhavi Didi and Gargaraji and Ganga Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji. Okay, I'm going to drink some more water. 1 second. Okay. Where am I there? Let's just find where we are really quick. Now we're at 25. Okay. One second. Okay. Falgunasya pakshe dadashaham Payo-vratam Archayed Aravindaksham Bhaktya Paramayamvita. In the bright fortnight of the month of Falgun, that's February and March, for 12 days ending with Trayodaśī, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. And Falgun just started 2 days ago. So if anybody wants to do the Payo-vrata, process, now's the time. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu with devotion means following Archan Marg. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. He should install the deity of Lord Vishnu or Krishna and worship him nicely by dressing him, decorating him with flower garlands, and offering him all kinds of fruits, flowers, and cooked food, nicely prepared with ghee, sugar, and grains. One should also offer a flame, incense, and so on, while ringing a bell as prescribed. This is called a worship of the Lord. Here it is recommended that one observe the vow of subsisting only by drinking milk. This is called Payo-vrata. Oh yeah, Payo means to drink, doesn't it? As we generally devotional service on Ekadashi by not eating grains, it is generally recommended that on Dwadashi one not consume anything but milk. Payo-vrata and Archan devotional service to the Supreme Lord should be performed with a pure devotional attitude, bhaktya. Without bhakti, one cannot worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschashmi tattata. If one wants to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be directly connected with Him, knowing what He wants to eat and how He is satisfied, one must take the process of bhakti, as recommended here also, bhaktya paramayanvitaha. One should be surcharged with unalloyed devotional service. Sinivalyam hridali snayat kroda vidirnaya yadi labhyeta srotasyetam mantram udirayet. If dirt dug up by a boar is available, on the day of the dark moon, one should smear this dirt on his body and then bathe in a flowing river. While bathing, one should chant the following mantra. That's very interesting. So then one should chant this mantra. Tam devyadi varahena rasaya stanamichata udritasi namastubhyam papmanam me pranashaya. O Mother Earth, you are raised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a boar because of your desiring to have a place to stay. I pray that you kindly vanquish all the reactions of my sinful life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Nirvartitatma niyamo devamarchet samahita archayam standile surye jale vahno guravapi. Thereafter, one should perform his daily spiritual duties and then, with great attention, offer worship to the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and also to the altar, the sun, water, fire, and the spiritual master. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahiyase Sarvabhuta Nivasaya Vasudevaya Shakshine. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, greatest of all, who lives in everyone's heart, in whom everyone lives. O witness of everything, O Vasudeva, supreme and all-pervading person, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. One second. Namo Vyaktaya Shukshmaya Pradhana Purushaya Cha Chaturvingshar Gunagyaya Guna Sankhyanā Hetave. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Person. Being very subtle, you are never visible to material eyes. You are the knower of the 24 elements, and you are the inaugurator of the Sankhya Yoga system. Purport. Chaturvingshar Guna, the 24 elements, are the 5 gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, and false ego, the 10 senses, 5 for working and 5 for acquiring knowledge, and the 5 sense objects and contaminated consciousness. These are the subject matter of Sankhya Yoga, which was inaugurated by Lord Kapila Dev. This Sankhya Yoga was again propounded by another Kapila, but he was an atheist, and his system is not accepted as bona fide. Namo Dvishirshnetripade Chatusringaya Tantave Saptahastaya Yagyaya Traye Vedyatmane Namah. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have 2 heads, Prayaniya and Udayaniya, 3 legs, Savana Traya, 4 horns, Vedas, and the 7 chandas, such as Gayatri. That's giving a scary image in my head. I offer my obeisances unto you, whose heart and soul are the 3 Vedic rituals, Karma Kanda, Gyan Kanda, and Upasana Kanda, and to expand these rituals in the form of sacrifice. Namah Shivaya Rudraya Namah Shakti Dharaya Cha Sarva Vidya Dipataye Bhutanam Pataye Namah. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, Lord Shiva, or Rudra, who are the reservoir of all potencies, the reservoir of all knowledge, and the master of everyone. It is a system for one to offer obeisances unto the expansion or incarnation of the Lord. Lord Shiva is the incarnation of ignorance, one of the material modes of nature. Namo Hiranyagarbhaya Pranaya Jagaratmane Yogaishvarya Shariraya Namaste Yoga Hidave. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are situated as Hiranyagarbha, the source of life, the supersoul of every living entity. Your body is the source of the opulence of all mystic power. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Namasta Adidevaya Shakshi Bhutaya Te Nama Narayanaya Rishaye Naraya Haraye Nama. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the original personality of Godhead, the witness in everyone's heart, and the incarnation of Narayan Rishi in the form of a human being. O personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Namo Marakata Shyama Vapushe Dekata Shriye Keshavaya Namastubhyam Namaste Pitavasase. My Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are dressed in yellow garments, whose bodily hue resembles the Markata gem, and who have full control over the goddess of fortune. O my Lord Keshav, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tam sarva varada pungsam varenya varadarshava ataste shreyase dhira padarenam upasate. O most exalted and worshipable Lord, best of those who bestow benediction, you can fulfill the desires of everyone, and therefore, those who are sober, for their own welfare, worship the dust of your lotus feet. Sorry, let me just drink some more water. 1 second. Anvavartanta yam deva shishya tatpadapadmayo sprihayanta ivamodam bhagavan ne prasidatam. All the demigods, as well as the goddess of fortune, engage in the service of his lotus feet. Indeed, they respect the fragrance of those lotus feet. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead be pleased with me. Etar mantrar Hrishikesham avahana puraskritam arshayet shraddhaya yukta padyopasparshanadivihi. Kaśyapa Muni continued. By chanting all these mantras, welcoming the Supreme Personality of Godhead with faith and devotion, and offering him items of worship such as Padya and Arghya, one should worship Keshav, Rishikesh, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just saying how many verses? 62 verses, okay. Architva Gandhamalatyai Payasa Snapayed Vibhum Vastropavita Bharana Padyopasparshanaistata Kanda Dupadivishcharched Dadashakshara Vidaya. In the beginning, the devotee should chant the Dadashakshara mantra and offer flower garlands, incense, and so on. After worshipping the Lord in this way, one should bathe the Lord with milk and dress him with proper garments, a sacred thread, and ornaments. After offering water to wash the Lord's feet, one should again worship the Lord with fragrant flowers, incense, and other paraphernalia. Purport. The Dwadashakshar mantra is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. While worshipping the deity, one should ring a bell with his left hand and offer padya, arghya, vastra, gandha, mala, abharana, and bhushana, and so on. In this way, one should bathe the Lord with milk, dress him, and again worship him with all paraphernalia. Shritam payasi naivedyam shalyanam vibhave sati sasarpihi saguram tattva juhuyan mulavidaya. If one can afford to, one should offer the deity fine rice boiled in milk with clarified butter and molasses. While chanting the same original mantra, one should offer all this to the fire. Niveditam tampaktaya dadyarbhunjitasva swayam tatvachamanam architva tambulam cha nivedayet. One should offer all the prasad to a Vaishnav or offer him some of the prasad and then take some oneself. After this, one should offer the deity achman and then betel nut and then again worship the Lord. Japerashtotara shatam stuvita stutivi prabhum kritva pradakshinam bhumau pranamer dandavan muda. Thereafter, one should silently murmur the mantra 108 times and offer prayers to the Lord for his glorification. Then one should circumambulate the Lord, and finally, with great delight and satisfaction, offer obeisances, falling straight like a rod. Dandavat. Kritva shirasitachesham devam udva sayetata dvavaran bhojayer vipran payasena yatochitam. After touching to one's head all the flowers and water offered to the deity, one should throw them into a sacred place. Then one should feed at least 2 Brahmins with sweet rice. Once again. Punjita taranugyata shishta shesham sabhajitai brahmacharya ratriam svobhute pratame hani snata shuchiryatoktena vidhina susamahita payasa snapayitvarched yavad vrata samapanam. One should perfectly honor the respectable Brahmins one has fed, and then, after taking their permission, one should take prasad with his friends and relatives. For that night, one should observe strict celibacy, and the next morning, after bathing again with purity and attention, one should bathe the deity of Vishnu with milk and worship him according to the methods formally stated in detail. Payo-vrata charir vishvarchana purvavaj juhuyad agnim brahmanangs chapi bhojayet. Worshipping Lord Vishnu with great faith and devotion, and living only by drinking milk, one should follow this vow. One should also offer oblations to the fire and feed the Brahmins as I mentioned before. Evam tvahar ahar kuryad dvadashaham payo-vratam harer aradhanam homam arhanam tejatarpanam. In this way, until 12 days have passed, one should observe this Payo-vrata, worshipping the Lord every day, executing the routine duties, performing sacrifices, and feeding the Brahmins. Pratipadenam yavat shukla trayodaśīm brahmacharyam adaswapnam snanam trishravanam charet. From Pratipat, that's the first day of the first lunar day until the 13th lunar day of the next bright full moon, Shukla Trayodaśī, one should observe complete celibacy, sleep on the floor, bathe 3 times a day, and thus execute the vow. Okay, so it's am I understanding correctly? It's a 13-day vow. Varjayed asaralapam bhogam ucha vachangstata ahingsra sarvabhutanam vasudeva parayanaha. During this period, one should not unnecessarily talk of material subjects or topics of sense gratification. One should be completely free from envy of all living entities, and one should be a pure and simple devotee of Lord Vasudeva. Trayodaśyam ato Vishnu snapanam panchakar vivo karayach chastra drishtena vedina vidiko vida. Thereafter, following the directions, somebody messaged me. Let me just see what it is. Okay, keep drinking. Thereafter, following the directions of the Shastra with help from Brahmins who know the Shastra, on the 13th day of the moon, one should bathe Lord Vishnu with 5 substances: milk, yogurt, ghee, sugar, and honey. Pujam cha mahatim kuryad vitashatya vivarjita charam nirupya payasi shipi vishtaya vishnave suktena tene purusham yajita susma samahita naivedyam chati gunavad dadyat purusha dushtidam. Giving up the miserly habit of not spending money, one should arrange for the gorgeous worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who is situated in the heart of every living entity. With great attention, one must prepare an oblation of grains boiled in ghee and milk, and must chant the Purusha Sukta mantra. The offerings of food should be of varieties of. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Acharyam Jnana Sampannam Vastrabharanadhenubhi Doshayed Ritvijas Chaiva Tarvedyaradhanam Hare. One should satisfy the spiritual master, the Acharya, who is very learned in Vedic literature, and should satisfy his assistant priests, known as Hota, Udgata, Advaryu, and Brahma. One should please them by offering them clothing, ornaments, and cows. This is a ceremony called Vishnu Aradhana, or worship of Lord Vishnu. Bhojayetan gunavata saranena shuchi smite anyangscha brahmanang chaktya yecha tatra samagataha. I pointed this out last time, but I just want to point it out again. This particular sandhi right here there's 5 steps to get to achieve this. It's pretty nuts. It's like in the Harinamamrita Vyakaran that I've been learning, there's 5 sutras to explain how to get to this particular combination. O most auspicious lady, one should perform all the ceremonies under the direction of the learned acharyas and should satisfy them and their priests. By distributing prasad, one should also satisfy the brahmins and others who have assembled. Dakshinam guruve dadyad ritvibhyascha yatarhata anadenashva pakangscha prenayet samupagatam. One should satisfy the spiritual master and the assistant priests by giving them cloth, ornaments, cows, and also some monetary contribution. And by distributing prasad, one should satisfy everyone assembled, including even the lowest of men, the chandalas, the eaters of dog flesh. Purport. In the Vedic system, prasad is distributed as recommended here without discrimination as to who may take the prasad. Regardless of whether one is a Brahman, Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, or even the lowest of men, a Chandal, he should be welcome to accept prasad. However, when the Chandalas, the lower class or poorer class, are taking prasad, this does not mean that they have become Narayan or Vishnu. Narayan is situated in everyone's heart. This does not mean Narayan is a Chandala, a poor man. The Mayavad philosophy of accepting a poor man as Narayan is the most envious and atheistic movement in Vedic culture. This mentality should be completely given up. Everyone should be given the opportunity to take prasad, but this does not mean that everyone has the right to become Narayan. Bhukta vastu chasarveshu Denanda kripanadishu Vishnustat prinanam vidvan bhunjitaha bandhuvi. One should distribute Vishnu prasad to everyone, including the poor man, the blind man, the non-devotee, and the non-Brahman. Knowing that Lord Vishnu is very pleased when everyone is sumptuously fed with Vishnu prasad, the performer of yajna should then take prasad with his friends and relatives. Nrita vaditra gitaischa stutibi swasti vachakai karayat tat katabhischa pujang bhagavaton vaham. Every day from Pratipat to Trayodaśī, one should continue the ceremony to the accompaniment of dancing, singing, and beating of a drum, the chanting of prayers, and all auspicious mantras, and recitation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just looking as the word for word say Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it says Tat Kata Divi. So in narrations of Tat, of that Supreme Lord. Etat Payo-vratam nama Purusharadhanam param Pitamahenad bihitam Mayate samudaritam. This is the religious ritualistic ceremony known as Payo-vrata, by which one may worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I have this information from Brahma, my grandfather, and now I have described it to you in all the details. Tam chanena mahabhage samyak chirnena keshavam atmana shuddha bhavena niyatatma Vajavyayam. O most fortunate lady, establishing your mind in a good spirit, execute this process of Payo-vrata and thus worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kaśyapa, who is inexhaustible. Ayam vai sarvayagyakya sarvavratam iti smritam tapasaram idam padre danam chesh bharatarpanam. This Payo-vrata is also known as Sarva Yajna. In other words, by performing the sacrifice, one can perform all other sacrifices automatically. This is also acknowledged to be the best of all ritualistic ceremonies. O gentle lady, it is the essence of all austerities, and it is the process of giving charity and pleasing the Supreme Controller. Purport. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param. This statement is made by Lord Shiva. Worshipping Lord Vishnu is the supreme process of worship, and how Lord Vishnu is worshipped in this Payo-vrata ceremony has now been fully described. The ultimate goal of life is to please Lord Vishnu by Varnashram Dharma. The Vedic principles of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams are meant for worship of Vishnu. Vishnu aradhate pungsam nanyat tattoshakaranam. The Krishna consciousness movement is also Vishnu Aradhanam, or worship of Lord Vishnu, according to the age. The Payo-vrata method of Vishnu Aradhanam was enunciated long ago by Kaśyapa Muni to his wife, Aditi, in the heavenly planets, and the same process is bona fide on earth even now. Especially for this age of Kali, the process accepted by the Krishna consciousness movement is to open hundreds and thousands of Vishnu temples of Radha Krishna, Jagannath Balaram, Sitaram, Gaura, and so on, performing prescribed worship in such temples of Vishnu, and thus worshipping the Lord is as good as performing the Payo-vrata ceremony recommended here. The Payo-vrata ceremony is performed from the 1st to the 13th day of the bright fortnight of the moon, but in our Krishna consciousness movement, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in every temple according to a schedule of 24 hours of engagement in performing kirtan, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, offering palatable food to Lord Vishnu, and distributing this food to the Vaishnavas and others. These are authorized activities, and if the members of the Krishna consciousness movement stick to these principles, they will achieve the same results one gains by observing the Payo-vrata ceremony. Thus, the essence of all auspicious activities, such as performing yajna, giving in charity, observing vrats, and undergoing austerities, is included in the Krishna consciousness movement. The members of this movement should immediately and sincerely follow the processes already mentioned, already recommended. Of course, sacrifice is meant to please Lord Vishnu. Yagyai sankirtana prayar yajanti hi sumedasa. In Kali Yuga, those who are intelligent perform the sankirtan yajna. One should follow this process conscientiously. Ta'eva niyama shakshad, ta'eva chayat yamottama, tapodanam vratam yagyo, yena tushyat tadoksaja. This is the best process for pleasing the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead known as a Adhoksaj. It is the best of all regulated principles, the best austerity, the best process of giving charity, and the best process of sacrifice. Purport. The Supreme Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 866, Sarva dharma parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tang sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Unless one pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his demand, no good result will come from any of his actions. Dharma swanushtita pumsam vishwaksena katasuya notpadayed yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. That's Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 128. If one is not interested in satisfying Lord Vishnu, Vasudeva, all his so-called auspicious activities are fruitless. Mogasa mogo karmano moga vichestasa. It's Bhagavad Gita 9:12. Because he is bewildered, he is baffled in his hopes, baffled in his activities, and baffled in his knowledge. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks, Na pungsakam anapungsakenetadinaikatvam. One cannot equate the potent and the One cannot equate the potent and the impotent. Among modern Mayavadis, it has become fashionable to say that whatever one does, or whatever path one follows, is all right. Jata mata tatapata. But these are all foolish statements. Here it is forcefully affirms that this is the only method for success in life. Ishvara tarpanam vina sarvam eva vifalam. Unless Lord Vishnu is satisfied, all of one's pious activities, ritualistic ceremonies, and yajnas are simply for show and value. Unfortunately, foolish people do not know the secret of success. Na te vidu svarta gatim I Vishnum. They do not know that real self-interest ends in pleasing Lord Vishnu. Okay, this is the last verse. What time is it? Tasmaritad vratang patre prayata shraddhayarchara Bhagavan paritushtaste varan ashu vidhasyati. Therefore, my dear gentle lady, follow this ritualistic vow, strictly observing the regulative principles. By this process, the Supreme Person will very soon be pleased with you and will satisfy all your desires. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purports of the 8th canto, 16th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Executing the Payo-vrata Process of Worship. And so, tomorrow, I think tomorrow is my Param Gurudev's Vyas Puja day. So I probably won't read it tomorrow. I'm not going to read from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam tomorrow. I'll read about my Param Gurudev tomorrow. But then the day after tomorrow, we'll begin. The Supreme Lord becomes Aditi's son. Lord Vishnu appears before Aditi. Lord Vishnu reveals his plans to Aditi. Lord Vishnu enters Aditi's womb, and Brahma offers prayers. So that's all tomorrow. Thanks for tolerating my weak reading. Hare Krishna, Rohit Radha Krishna ji. Okay. Jai Shishi Guru. Oh, Hare Krishna. Okay. I will observe Payo-vrata by drinking. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Yes, I will do that, Rup Manjari Didi. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandharika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govana Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtara Shatashmar Bhakti Granta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtara Shatashmar Bhakti Granta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtara Shatashmar Shri Bhakti Granta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtara Shatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai, Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashtara Shatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Gopshita Swabhaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitya Pravishta Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Rashtraghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shikor Parshada Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Ras Thakur ki jai. Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vajra Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Padata Giri Raj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Dandavat pranams everybody. See you all tomorrow for glorifying my Param Gurudev. Hari Bo.